Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, April 15th, 2020. I'm Keith Tebow. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday morning as we continue to speak with people in our community as we're all dealing with COVID-19 and the pandemic that has been taking over our lives for quite some time now. I want to get an update this morning on the status of the Fall River Public Schools, and I'm pleased to be joined this morning by the Superintendent of Schools, Superintendent Matt Malone. Superintendent, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
It's great to be here, and look forward to talking to everyone. And let's do more of these as the closure continues.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been asking everyone, Superintendent, as much as you as the leader of public schools, as the mayor, as the leader of our city, as I had the opportunity yesterday actually to do one of these with Congressman Kennedy about what he's dealing with. I want to humanize this a little bit for you personally. How are you personally dealing with what's been happening in your own life? Because we're all dealing with this. It's not just individuals. Everyone has to deal with this pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, I've never worked so hard. You would think schools closed, everyone go home and hide. That's not the case in across the country. Obviously, the school systems provide food. We have to provide education. We have facilities to maintain. So as the leader, I'm here every day, working hard. We're working differently. So a lot of our engagements are through mediums such as this, in phone calls and those kinds of things, a lot of email, but we're working, and it's tiring. In terms of like the personal stuff, my kids are home. That's hard. Homeschooling. Everyone in America has realized that teachers are priceless, and the job, you can't pay people enough to do this kind of work. I think that's real. At the same time, the worst part is like parents. You can't even go hug your mother. You got to stay outside when you talk to folks. The social distancing, I think, is having a burden on people. I just want to make sure that we do what we must to flatten the curve, if you will. But then I'm eager to get back to work. I want to get America working again. I want to get everything up and operational, a sense of normalcy. I mean, one of the things I think, we've proven, that school can be done on a device now, right? Which is when you think about disruptive technologies and how crisis creates opportunity and disruption, the future is going to look very differently. But the one thing that everyone misses is social connection, and that's what schools do. So you can't make up for what happens in a classroom on Zoom. You can't try to recreate what it means to be part of an athletic team or the band or part of a play on TikTok. It's just not the same. So I think we're all craving the social connectivity that schools provide, and I look forward to hopefully being able to get back to some semblance of normalcy, hopefully this school year.
Yeah. I know that it's funny. We're losing track of time as we've been working remotely. It's been about a month, I believe, or pretty close to a month, that the public schools have been working remotely and have been learning remotely. Is there a sense of routine now with this? Are there still some obstacles that need to be faced?
Yeah, I mean, it's so for us, there's huge obstacles. We're on day 21 of closure operations. We've distributed over 88,000 meals or 87,000 meals so far. We've given out approximately 70% so far of our remote learning packets. Where the school committee approved the ability for our credit recovery students, which would actually be doing online learning, not remote learning. And there's a difference, and let's be clear about that. Remote learning is learning from home using materials provided by schools. Online learning is through programs where students watch videos, answer questions, do reading online. We use remote learning for credit recovery, but across the Commonwealth, what Massachusetts is doing is deepening all the skills and contents that students have learned up through the closure, but we're not teaching new things. And the issue is, it would be a travesty of equity if we did. Some students would move ahead and others would be left behind. So what we're trying to do is really deepen, because it's like going outside and shooting free throws. Michael Jordan, famously became an expert at shooting free throws by taking 10,000 attempts. What we're trying to do is deepen the learning, making sure that everything that kids learned so far up through school closure, let's keep taking shots on net with that and master with perfection those skills. And then through enrichment, a lot of the stuff that we provided for students, hopefully deepening the connection. Now, granted, is most of us know, there's so much learning that happens outside of the classroom, just by tinkering with the car, just by going to push your body to say it's more than just running a mile and understanding what your heart rate does. Run 2 miles and then do 400 burpees and see how you feel and check your heart rate then. I mean, those kinds of things, growing, learning about life cycle by growing a garden, or whatever it is, whatever you're passionate about. There's so much learning that you can do outside of school as well. And for us, kids staying connected. The thing is, we talk about remote learning, and let's just be honest, probably half our kids right now are playing Minecraft, or you name me the game. I don't even know the games now. My kids are doing the same thing. What I'm trying to make sure that parents understand is put a lot of that stuff aside and also do academic inquiry so that you can keep your brains fresh. There is a proven research on the summer learning loss, or what we call the brain drain. When schools shut down in the summer, you got 2 months of kids not being connected, not engaging, that there's a loss of learning. What we're trying to prevent right now is that same level loss of learning. So right now we're in remote learning operations. That's going to continue through May 4th. And then we'll make other decisions as to what the governor here in Massachusetts decides, whether or not we're going to be opening on May 4th, or whether or not we're going to be extending the closure, or even if we're going to reopen for this year. That we don't know yet. We had a meeting yesterday and with the commissioner, and these are all the great unknowns. We're told that there'll be some sort of announcement later this week, but we're prepared to handle any contingency, and that's what we do.
Yeah. I want to give you the opportunity to talk about how the teachers are handling all this. I know they're going above and beyond, making sure that material is made available to their students, and the auxiliary staff in the schools. A lot of those people you don't see anyway, unless if you're a parent, you talk directly with a teacher. You may not necessarily see that support staff. Talk a little bit about how this has been on them and how they've really come through.
Yeah, our teachers are the best in the world. Put them up against anybody. We've been able, with all our labor unions, to negotiate fair memorandums of understanding during closure, outlining what work expectations are, coupled with what we'll do in return. All of our employees are under MOUs and are doing what they're supposed to do. Let me break this down into 2 terms. So one of the great things about quarantine is you got Netflix, right? And you can watch movies all night. But I've been doing a lot of reading. I just read this really interesting book on the Vietnam War, and then juxtapose that with watching Ken Burns' Vietnam War series on PBS. So I did both. And one of the things that was fascinating was that for every Marine on the front lines, there's 30 Marines in the rear working to support that one Marine out on the front line. So let's think about that for a second. In education, it's the same way. Your teachers are on the front lines. Behind the teacher, you got all sorts of support. So our unsung heroes right now are really what we call the essential employees, the operations that make everything happen. So our food service people, our security, our custodians, our technological support staff, our payroll people, our clerks, you name those folks, they're doing great work right now. our frontline professionals, our teachers, our paras, our sped support staff, our ELL specialists, our content people, they're making sure that all the stuff that kids are doing at home with parents is getting done. So they created the units. They help administer the units. Now they're making contacts every single day with families, both on the academic and the social emotional side, and providing services, whether that be through phone call, through technology, through whatever medium. We got schools that are out doing neighborhood drive-bys, and so just to stay connected. And all this stuff that's happening is great. We've been doing it now for 21 days, and hopefully, we're going to continue to do this up through the end. But the teachers really have stepped up. Our labor unions across the board are student first, team oriented. I couldn't tell you how lucky and fortunate we are. We have a city such as this and a system such as this.
One of the things that I'm actually dealing with personally as well is I have a daughter who is a senior in high school. And, we're getting set for the end of their year. It's not the senior year. It's turning out to what they expect. I know that's the same at Durfee and our other high schools in Fall River. Is there a hope that there may be a possibility of some sort of senior events to recognize the class of 2020?
Yeah, I mean, this is awful. If you're a senior in high school or a junior, this stinks. I'd use other words if we weren't live on TV. It's just, I get it. And I'm not going to deny the fact that we basically robbed these kids of these great experiences that are rites of passage in their lives. We have to make it up to them. And I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it. And I know the folks at Durfee, RPA, and folks in high schools across the Commonwealth are trying to figure out how we're going to do that. But we're going to do that. And people need to stay tuned. And we want folks to stay positive. I mean, you could easily go through this situation and get depressed and be anxious and all sorts of things. But, we're going to get through this. The world will get back to normal at some point, and we will survive. But there'll be things that we miss and things that we change. And God forbid, people are dying too. So, I mean, we got to acknowledge that we're losing a whole generation of, the greatest generation is not going to be around, and much longer. We all knew that was coming, but you look at the stats and who's passing, and, it's scary. But we're also dealing with, loved ones and people we know in our lives who are sick or have already passed and will pass, those kinds of things. So for these kids, we want to maintain a sense of normalcy, try to keep them young as long as we can, in terms of doing the things that is rites of passage, and we want to be able to support them. Whether that means we're doing that through the summer and through the fall and through next year, it doesn't matter. There are always going to be Fall River kids, Durfee students, and we want to make sure that they feel that their wants, desires, needs are being met.
Yeah. Superintendent Matt Malone, I appreciate your time today. Let's continue this conversation. We'll continue to have you connect with our audience and hopefully the other residents of Fall River. Thank you for your time. All the best moving forward, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Look forward to that. And let's stay calm, stay positive, and just stay motivated and keep going.
All right. Thank you. I want to thank again Superintendent Matt Malone for joining us this morning, giving us an update on what's happening in the Fall River Public Schools. Again, we continue to invite you to follow us on our website at frmedia.org. We have a number of these interviews under an FRC Media updates page. You can see our conversations with Congressman Kennedy yesterday and some of the others. We have a weekly conversation with Mayor Coogan, which we'll be having again tomorrow, to get the mayor's update on what's happening in the city and how it's dealing with COVID-19. Also, our website is a great place to find out about what's on our cable TV channel, Channel 95. And I want to thank those of you watching on cable TV today as well. So for all of us here at FRC Media, I'm Keith Tebow. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll talk again soon.